Okay, so again, welcome for this session. And my agenda for today is that I'm going to talk about what data analytics is, a little bit background about it. We will, in last session that we had a couple of days back, we spoke about programming a little bit, okay? And most of you are new, so I'm going to touch upon that aspect as well. And then at the end, we'll take up your queries. So now, if you look at the field itself, okay, and data analytics has always been important. Okay, the decision that we are going to make. Okay, now think of a small, think of a decision that you want to go to your office, right, and you have a 10 o'clock meeting to attend. How much time does it take from your home to office, right? That is not fixed. Okay, maybe if you travel at midnight, it might take just 10 minutes, but if you travel through the traffic, it might take 40 minutes, right? So if you are planning your travel, okay, to even to a grocery store, okay, you'll plan so many things in your mind. Okay, we look at the time of the day, we look at how much item you are planning to buy. Okay, so all those decisions we are taking in our mind while calculating, and then we are making the decision. We don't realize, okay, even you go to your store, okay, you might have 10 different packets. One will be the smallest packet, one will be the largest packet, and obviously the cost per item generally varies, right? Your larger packet will be cheaper compared to your smaller packet, the cost per item, if you say. And then you decide, okay, which one to buy. Obviously you can't buy the bigger packet. Okay, if you are, let's say, a family of one or two, probably, the amount of money that you will save by buying a bigger packet, you will end up spending or losing or wasting more, because you could not finish it in time and it got wasted, right? And of course, if you buy the smallest packet, you are probably paying more, right? You end up paying more on that, so it might turn out to be expensive. So what is the best packet or size of bread or whatever, right, to buy, right? You'll be buying little more than the smallest size because that will be cheaper, and you'll be buying the smaller than the largest packet because you don't want to waste just by keeping, buying extra bread would probably get spoiled, right? And you lose money. So the amount that you saved, okay, you're losing more in the wastage, right? So you don't know so much of decisions our mind is making every day, okay? And one thing about our mind is that it is very fast. Okay, it's so fast that even we don't realize how our mind or how our brain works. Okay, and the first thing which I tell generally freshers who come to my course for programming, I tell them that slow down your brain. Okay, because the programming part, okay, when I say programming, it is just not just programming, but any decision that you're making, we try to make same way as brain works. Okay, and some people find it difficult because our brain is so fast that you are not able to decode your own brain. Okay, so it is from now on, at least when you're in the program or when you're in this class, try to think little slow. Okay, try to think in a structured way. Okay, okay, mind does in a structured way, but it's so fast we don't realize the structure. Okay, so decision we always make for everything and anything, right? Okay, today's session, what time should I log in? That's also a decision that we have to make, right? Should I log in 10 minutes before? Okay, should I log in 5 minutes before? Right, as an instructor I have to log in at least 5 minutes before. So maybe if some of you have joined earlier, I should be able to maybe tell you that I'm here, the session is about to start, right? So there's so much decision that we make. Some decisions are easy, some decisions are may not be so difficult to make, but some decisions are difficult, right? But we have to make those decisions. Now, why data? Why data? Because data gives you a clear picture. Now, let's say if I ask you a question, okay, and generally I ask this question to students. Let's say you have some extra cash and you want to invest in land somewhere. Okay. Now, there is a ad that you see in Google. Okay. There's someone who's posting an ad saying, okay, this area is getting developed and you invest in this area. Okay. Now, all of us, let's say all of us in the call has same amount of cash. Okay. We all probably, let's say, can afford that area. But do we all go and buy? Probably one or two of us might buy, not all of us buy. Because the way we think, the way we analyze is different. Okay. But if you have the same data, okay, if the data says that, this area is going to give largest return compared to any other investment, then probably most of us would go and buy. So I'm trying to just give you the importance of data. And in our daily life, when you get into this role, you will be talking to business leaders. Okay. Your analysis would help a sales guy to decide how much product to put it in the store, maybe, let's say if you're talking about retail, how much product to carry as inventory. You will be talking to the manufacturing guys to talk about how much they should they manufacture. Should they run 2 shifts? Should they run just 1 shift? Right? So your analysis is going to impact the business. Okay. You don't realize, the power of data because you are probably day in, day night working on the data, but your input is so crucial for the leaders to make decision. Okay. And again, if I ask you, what is the world's biggest taxi company? What is the world's biggest taxi company? Any idea?
Uber.
Uber?
Uber.
Correct, Uber. And how many cars do they own?
It's 0.
Zero. Uber doesn't own any car, isn't it? It's
Yes.
the drivers who put their car on Uber, right? World's largest taxi company doesn't have even one single car. Okay, same goes with Amazon, right? Amazon, if you look at in terms of the value of the product that they sell, is much, much bigger than Walmart. Okay, but how many stores Amazon has? Zero. They had one and they temporarily closed it, right? So they don't even have a store, but they are the world's largest retail store. How did they become such large? They have become, okay, largest. Okay, now the list is endless, right? You talk about hotels, right? Airbnb has more rooms than even, let's say, Marriott, right? And Marriott has such posh buildings and things like that, and Airbnb doesn't own even one single, property. So how have they become such a big companies? They have become such a big just by managing data, isn't it? Uber has data of the drivers and the passengers who wants to rent the car, right? Amazon has the data of sellers. Okay, there are thousands of sellers, and of course you have millions of buyers. So they have the data of buyers and sellers. Same with Airbnb. Okay, people who are looking for rooms and people who have, rooms and they want to rent it out. So these companies now, and again, if you talk about things, what was before 10 years and what is today, these data companies, so I don't like to call them IT companies, okay? I like to call them data companies. Yes, you need IT to manage that tons of data, right? You have TBs and, every day GBs of data is getting captured. If you just look at Facebook, they say that 10 million photos are uploaded every hour, not even every day. 10 million photos every hour. Now imagine the kind of hard disk, the kind of data they would be handling. I'm just talking about photos. Then you have videos, you have, the post and replies and things like that, right? Again, they have so many different apps and games, things like that. I'm just talking about photos. Now they're investing so much in that infrastructure, right? What is the benefit for them? Everything we are getting it for free. Facebook doesn't charge anything. What is, and of course, they are the Facebook employees or Google employees. Okay, they are obviously one of the highest paid people, right? And it's we all probably want to work for companies like that, right? So how are they able to manage all those things? What is that they do? right? They are generating revenues, millions of revenues, millions of data every day based on our data. Agreed? So, so they are able to generate, okay, all this data, okay, based on our data. I mean, they're able to generate so much of revenue based on our data, isn't it? So the point I'm trying to drive is that if you are able to use data, okay, effectively, you can become Google's and Facebook's and Airbnb, right? Now, each of these companies work in different domain, right? Now, if you want to be successful employee at Amazon, you do need to know about, okay, you do need to know about retail business, isn't it? You can't do that without knowing about the retail business, right? But at the end of the day, it is also the data that plays a important role, right? So what do you think data analytics would be? What is data analytics?
And data analytics is to mostly 70% of cleaning data, and after the remaining 30% is visualizing and presenting it to the client in an understandable way, user friendly way, interactive way.
Okay, so you are saying it is cleaning, right? And then
And
visualizing, presenting,
yeah, first getting the data and then cleaning it, and then
right?
presenting it in an interactive way. Should be
Getting the
interactive,
data,
yeah. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, then cleaning the data,
Hmm.
yeah, extracting, transforming, yeah, cleaning the data and then presenting it in an interactive way. uh, Interactive means, I hope you understood.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yes.
right.
Yeah.
And not only
Yeah.
me, everybody here should
Yeah.
have probably understood. Yeah. Okay. So see, exactly. Okay. So you have two words here, data and analytics. Okay. So obviously you need data to perform analytics. Without data, you can't move ahead, right? And second thing is you need the right data. So when you say getting the data, it also means that getting the right data, right? And always you start from the business objective. What is that you are trying to find, right? So of course you are getting the data, okay? You are cleaning the data, okay? You're making it ready in the format that can be used by your analytics tool, okay? You then perform analysis, right? You need to discover, right? So whatever you said is right. I'm just trying to add to what you said, right? Discover, any meaningful, okay, discover any meaningful pattern out of it, isn't it? Now, if you're not able to find any pattern, then you won't be able to go to visualization stage. You won't be able to present something to your business, right? What do you want to present it, right? Now, let's say, you ask me a question. If I don't know the answer, how can I talk about it, right? So I'll say, okay, let me get the answer, come back to you. And then once I get the answer, then I can decide whether to present in a video format or PPT format or just like a talk, right? So of course, you need to first find the meaningful information that has to be linked to the business, right? So if you are finding something about, say, employee satisfaction or employee related, HR team would be interested in that, not the sales team probably, correct? If you find something about your customer, your marketing team or sales team would be interested, okay? Not so much HR team, right? Because that's not their mandate. So, so you need to know, okay, meaningful pattern, right? And then, of course, you do the presentation, and presentation is not just for the sake of presenting, but communicating, right? So it is a way to, or you can decide how you want to communicate, whether it's interactive or, as you said, or charts or things like that. But it is like communicating to your business team, right? Okay. Now, they may not be interested in what was the ratio you used, which technique you use. They just want you to tell them, should I do yes or no? So if you look at the output that we are generating, there are two types of output that we generate. Okay, that's all. Okay, one is your numerical output. How much should I pay? Okay, how many products should I make? Okay, how much how many should I buy? So you have this numerical, right, type of data, and then you have the decision making, yes, no, A, B, or C, right? So we call them as categorical data. Okay, so and of course there are other types of data as well, like you have time series, text data, and things like that. We'll talk about it, but mostly we focus on these two outcomes: how much, how many, okay, and which can be anything, right? So how many should I buy? It can be between 1 to thousands, anything, right? But when talk about categorical data, you have limited option, right? Should I invest or not? Yes or no? Should I, what should I buy today? Okay, you go to a grocery store and you want to buy a fruit, okay, they have 10 fruits. So you can't buy 11 fruits, right? You have to buy 1 or 2 out of those 10 only, right? So you have limited option. Now, limited doesn't mean that 2 or 3, or it can be 50 or 100 options as well, but you don't have a choice of doing something beyond that given choice, right? So if you want to, like yes, no is a great example, right? Or you have 4 options to invest. Which one should you invest in, right? You'll do a calculations, analysis, and then finally say, okay, I'm going to invest in mutual fund. Okay, so that's the one option that you have out of 4, right? You cannot invest in, let's say, Tesla, if that's not the case, if they don't, if they are not listed, right? But if they are listed, of course you can invest. So I mean to say is, you have limited option and you have to select one of the options from given options, right? So that's the type of data that we deal there is called categorical data. Okay, and again we'll talk about in detail, like you have male, female, gender is a categorical value, the region, north, south, east, west is categorical value, right? Good, average, bad, good, bad, average, right? That's also categorical data. Okay, so you have those kind of data, and then numerical can be anything. Okay, it's number, it can be integer, it can be a fraction, okay, anything, right? So you have to communicate your outcome, okay, on these lines, and then, okay, whether you do the conclusion, okay. So generally, with your experience, okay, you will be able to do the conclusion, or you will have your manager or your business SMEs, okay, we call them subject matter experts. They would be drawing conclusion finally, okay. So as we grow in our role, okay, this is where you want to reach to a level, okay. Okay, initially you will be doing more hands-on, okay, but idea is that after some time you understand the business, whichever domain you are working in, and you understand the relation between the domain and the data, okay, and then be able to, okay, give conclusion. So analytics, okay, is not a tool, okay. Analytics, if you see, it's a it's a thinking, right? It's a process, right? And these are the process. Now you will be using different tools at different stages, correct? That's where, as to your question, whether what is difference between analytics and Power BI. Power BI is a tool where you can use it to make presentation, right? But you do need, SQL to clean the data. You do need, of course, SQL or even Power BI to discover the data, process on it. Okay, so visualization, I mean, Power BI, or for that matter, Tableau, just not for presentation, but you can do some analysis on there as well, some kind of analysis. Excel, okay, if the data is less, okay, less than, let's say, 50,000 or 100K, you can even use Excel, and Excel is again very powerful tool. So we will cover Excel also in our course. We will talk about Python, okay, if you have huge data, okay. Python, because if you look at the programming trend for last few years, right, especially last 5-7 years, Python has grown very fast. Okay, 4 years back, 3 years back, or even 5 years back, it was like top 5, maybe fourth, fifth popular language. But for last 2-3 years, it has become #1 popular language. Okay, the reason being that it is easy to learn. Okay, So, and maybe I have a tool here. I can show you that the main reason why Python got popularity or became popular is because of people from non computer science background. Okay, now most of everybody almost who does masters or PhDs, whether it is from engineering background or let's say humanities or social science background, they have to do data analysis, right? They have to go get the data from field, perform analysis. And earlier, okay, before Python was popular or it was available for public to use, people had to learn Java and do it. So let's say you are a social science person, okay, who have learned about social science all your life, and at age of 30, when you are doing your PhD, you are asked to learn Java, right? So it used to be time consuming, okay? And they would probably spend just 1 month on learning Java and then use that knowledge to perform the analysis. They lose 1 month of training time. Python, okay, and this is based on, again, the research that has been done, is like, it's almost, in terms of learning, it is 1/5 of Java. So if you take 30 days to learn Java, you can learn Python in 4 days, 5 days. Okay. That's how, Python has become so powerful. It is, first thing is, super easy to learn. Okay. And doesn't matter. I have trained, of course, school going kids. I have trained people from commerce background, CA background, law background, doctors. Okay. So trust me, it is easy to learn. Okay. Of course, Python is very powerful tool. You can do almost everything in using Python. You can do game development, website development, and all those things. But yes, we are not interested in those part. We'll be just interested in things that we need to know for analyzing data. Okay. So again, we will do the basic core Java, core Python, and then we will shift our attention towards data analysis. So we'll talk about NumPy, Pandas, SciPy. Okay, we will also learn Matplotlib, Seaborn. Those are the libraries that we use to plot graphs, very similar to what we can do in Power BI. Okay, so we'll do that so that we get confident in using Python tool, and then towards the end we will move to data visualization stuff. So okay, so maybe just to give you a glimpse of what Python is. Okay, so if I do 3 plus 5, okay, and if I run, so see, you can see the output here down. Okay, and I'm going to tell you, okay, once we start, I'm going to tell you which tools to install, how to install. All the tools that we're going to work are free. Okay, we can go to their official website, download, and start using it. Okay, so all the tools are free. I'm going to tell you how to install step by step, so don't worry about it. For first couple of sessions, my intention is to tell you that what we're going to cover. Okay, tell you that things are easy. So so my intention is to tell you that all these are easy. Okay, and address your questions. Okay, any question that you have from technical point of view, from this tool kind of point of view. Okay, so I'm here to address those. Okay, so now if I want to say, so when I say 3 plus 5, obviously it is 8. So it is calculating 8. We don't see it because we never asked Python to give it to me, right? But now if I say print here, okay, and within this bracket I tell 3 plus 5, it means that I'm telling Python to print the output for me. When I say print, now when I run it, now you see, you get 8, right? So, so the way we speak is the same way we get this outcome. Now, let's say I have a number, okay, and I did same program, I think last session also. So people who attended last session should be able to answer. Let's see how much you remember. So when I say num1 equal to 10, so it's like, when mathematics you write x equal to 5, okay, x equal to 5, y equal to 10, right? So this is x, assume this is x. I'm saying num1 equal to 10. So I'm defining a variable, which has a value of 10. Now I want to find out, okay, whether this is odd or even number. Okay, so I just said, right, the way we think, same way we code. Now, forget about Python. Let's say I ask you a question, okay? In general discussion, in English, I ask you a question. I have a number 10 and tell me whether it is odd or even. What would you answer?
Even.
Okay. How did you answer it? Right. And this is what I said. Our mind is so fast that, the even came to your mind, even your mind did not tell you this is the process we followed. But now if you slow down your mind, tell me, how did your brain come to a conclusion that this is even? What is the structured approach that you followed?
Like we'll divide by 2.
Divide by 2, so
then we can get that.
divide by 2 is 5, right? 10 by 2 is 5.
The remainder should be 0.
Remainder should be 0, right? So you
Yeah.
divide by 2 and check the remainder, right? So the step is take the number, okay, and step 1, divide by 2 and you check the remainder. Okay, if remainder is 0, it is even. If remainder is not 0, it is odd, right? This is how, our brain would, come to a conclusion that it is a even number, right? So now let's see how we can do that in Python. Now, this percentage sign is called modulo, okay? And this is used to give remainder. So if you want to get remainder, okay, we use percentage. So if I say 10 percentage 3, it'll give me remainder of 1 because 10 divided by 3, remainder is 1, isn't it? So 10 percentage 3 will give me remainder 1. So my job as an instructor is also to tell you these things, okay? This is the job of percentage. This is what quotation means. This is what bracket means. This is what I'm going to tell you, okay? So now, and you know that, okay? If you divide a number by 2 and you check the remainder, so I tell you num1 modulo 2 will give us remainder. And now I compare this with what? 0. Okay. Now, single equal to is to assign the value. So when I say num1 equal to 10, it means I'm assigning 10 to num1. But if I want to do comparison, is it equal to 0? I need to use double equal to. If I use single equal to, Python will assume that you are trying to assign 0 to this, which is not true, right? So, these small things we have to learn, right? This is what I'm going to tell you. Okay, so double equal to is to check if this value is equal to 0 or not. So answer will be either yes or no. That's it. Okay, so I'm saying calculate this, okay, which is remainder of num2 divided by 2. If this is equal to 0, so if I just print this here, if I say print, what will you get? True, right? This is this is equal to 0. So see, it tells you true. So num1 modulo 2, is it equal to 0? Answer is true. So when I print it, you get true here. But I don't want to print it. I want to check. I want to see, is this equal to 0? Okay, so it is equal to 0. So what? So I'm saying if, okay, this is equal to 0, then print number is and or number is even. Okay, otherwise else print number is odd, right? So when you run it, you see number is even. Now if I make it 101, obviously number will be odd here. See that? Now again, people who have done programming in C, C++ or Java, they might find it little interesting here. We are not using main, bracket and things like that. Okay, that's how Python has become simple. It says that I'm not going to use things which can be avoided. Okay, so on average, okay, Python, and let's say if you do same logic in Python and Java, Python will be at least 1/4 of your or even smaller than. When I say at least, it means 1/4 or less than 1/4 of your Java programs. Okay, it avoids unnecessary things. So now if you see this, okay, and let's say you have never done programming before, by looking at it, you can easily understand this is what this program is doing, right? So it's easy to learn. Is it not? Tell me. Let's say, if I had not explained and you were looking at it for the first time, obviously you may not know what is this, right? But let's say, I tell you what this means, then the entire this one you can easily understand, isn't it? So my purpose of showing this to you is to tell you that, okay, don't be scared of programming. Okay, yes, we are not going to build websites, we are not going to build games, so we are not going there. Okay, so we're not going to touch those quote unquote, right, difficult part. But the core Python that we're going to learn, which will be helpful for us, is not at all difficult. Okay.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. Yeah,
Yep,
but
no.
Python, this if-else statements they are very tricky, isn't it? Like there are too
No.
many if-else, like too many lines of code.
Right. No. Okay. Tell me.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this
Tell
is
me.
just not the ending. This is just only the beginning. Like you need to keep on writing the lines of code, only to get data, extract, clean, etc. And too
Okay.
much
So now
technical
tell me.
details.
Now you
Yeah,
tell me.
I agree with your statement that yes, Python is easier than Java. Java is complete crap. But yeah, Python, yeah, it's easier, but it's not too easy as you said. I
Okay.
mean,
No,
yeah,
no, no.
with due
So,
respect, yeah.
yeah. See, nothing is easy, right? If everything was easy, then everybody would have learned Python. Everybody would have been doing data analytics, right? Okay. So yes, I agree to your point. My point is that my job is to make it interesting and easy for you. That will be my responsibility. Okay. Even after attending like 3 or 4 days of class, if you find it difficult, it is my problem. Okay. If I'm not able to make it easy for you, I totally accept it. Okay. So let's go for the challenge. Okay. Let's see. Okay. After a week of Python, you come back and tell me. Okay. It's a challenge.
Yeah, okay, because I attended this Python training and I just went blank. That's why I said it.
Okay. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't worry. Okay. We'll have second attempt. We'll do second time. Okay. So, okay. So you asked me the content, right? So far we talked about Excel, that we'll be doing Excel. Okay. We did a little bit of Python that we spoke about. We will do a little bit of not little bit, when I say little bit, in terms of percentage, right? We will be doing full Power BI, we'll be doing full Python, but compared to the entire course, it is just 1/4 or 1/5, right? Power BI and Tableau. That's what I've been told, that we'll do both. Okay. Anything else did I miss? Okay. So yes, of course, you need to know a little bit of statistics, isn't it? Okay. Now, again, if you look at statistics, okay, there are two parts to statistics. One we call it as descriptive statistics, and second is called inferential statistics. Okay. Descriptive and inferential. Okay. Now, mostly our focus as part of analytics will be on the descriptive statistics. Okay. But we will, briefly touch upon inferential statistics also. See, descriptive statistics is where you take the entire data set and you work on it, right? I want to know who is my top customer, right? If I want to know who is my top customer, I need to have the data of all my customer, okay? And let's say my focus is last year, so I have to have the complete data of last year, and then you perform analysis and you come up with your findings. Okay, so this is called descriptive, where we use entire data set and we process on it, okay? Whether it is 10 rows of data or it is 10 GB of data, we don't care, right? We have to work on it. Inferential statistics is a little different. We will touch a little bit in our course, but mostly it is, when we talk of machine learning kind of applications, mostly it is inferential statistics. Inferential statistics is like your predicting election result, right? In election result, what we do, we interview 2,000 people, 3,000 people, 5,000 people, and then we make prediction for 50 million people, isn't it? So there is a science in it. Okay, it's not that there's no science on it, but you, based on 5,000, they are able to predict for 50 million people, 30 million people, 100 million people, isn't it? That's the job of inferential statistics. Okay. So, so if average value of 5,000 is 50, what could be the average value for the entire population? Okay. The sample size is what we have access to. The entire population is what we are making a decision about. Okay. So we will touch upon a little bit of that, but most of our work will be in descriptive statistics. We'll learn about data, we'll learn about basic statistics, we'll learn about meaning of those statistical terms, right? So which will be helpful when we do our Excel or Python or even, the Power BI kind of application. Okay. So statistics, and again, okay, is it Excel and Power BI? Maybe somewhere here we will even do SQL. Now, what is SQL? SQL stands for, do you know the meaning? It's
Yeah,
called
structured query language.
structured query language, right? We write SQL, but we pronounce as SQL. Okay, so the right way to pronounce this word is called SQL, structured.
So this is EMS SQL or Oracle SQL.
Okay,
What is the
SQL,
difference?
correct. So see, SQL is a programming language, okay, just like Python, okay, or you can even say compared to just like Power BI. It is a language to connect to database, okay. Now, when you look at database itself, okay, as you said, it could be Microsoft SQL Server, it could be Oracle database, it could be MySQL, Postgres, and there are tons of databases. SQL is a programming language which you can connect to any database. So SQL is independent of the database that you are going to use. Now, again, if you talk about types of databases, there are various types of databases. You have hierarchical and object-oriented, but most used type of database is called RDBMS, Relational Database Management System. And all the names which I spoke about, Oracle, SQL Server, MySQL, Postgres, there are tons, okay. MySQL is generally used. It's a open source, okay. But all these, okay, IBM's DB2, all these are relational database management system, okay. And SQL can connect to any, okay, RDBMS system. How it is done is, you have something called as ANSI standard, okay. So this ANSI standard sets the standard for SQL, and every database, they have to follow the ANSI standard. Okay, they cannot sell their product without implementing this ANSI standard. So ANSI as an organization sets the requirement for SQL that, okay, SQL should have this feature. Okay, this is how you need to connect. For example, select. Select is a command to read data. Okay, so again, we will learn to install SQL Server. All of these databases also have their free version of it. Okay, so free version is mostly used in one laptop, one user. Okay, which is good enough for us to learn. Okay, so but to practice, I always use this Live SQL. Okay, so now if you talk about SQL for that matter, okay, let me open another slide. Okay, so mostly we will be doing these operations, right? We call them CRUD. So this is to create, right? Create data, and we use insert command, right? This is to read, okay? And we say select, we use select command. Update, we use update, okay? And delete is to delete. So if you want to delete existing content, you will use delete command. If you want to update existing content, you want to change mobile number, email ID, whatever, you use update. So the specific value that you are changing will be updated, right? And select is you want to read, okay, insert. Now, if you look at the need for training in here, okay, insert, update, delete together, okay, contributes only 30% of the complexity. 20% is select. Okay, and that's again difference between your OLAP and OLTP. Okay, we do cover OLAP, OLTP here. OLAP is analytical processing, online analytical processing. OL stands for online, AP stands for analytical processing. Again, same way OL stands for online in OLTP. TP stands for transaction processing. Okay, transaction. So when you log into Amazon, okay, the Amazon database is an example of OLTP database, okay, which is always live. Okay, and you connect, you as a user, you connect, you get your work done, you come back. Okay, and if you see such databases, okay, like I said, Amazon database, or let's say you are booking a flight ticket and things like that, these are OLTP where transaction okay, is important, and mostly you will be focusing on insert, update, delete. Okay, that means you added something to your cart, so the cart table will have that information, and you can go and delete it. When you delete it, it has to delete it from the cart table as well. Okay, you log in, you create an account, insert, right? You select, you buy a product, again insert in the database. Okay, update. So writing. Okay, so IUD is more of writing, right? Okay, so you are, and when you write, of course, you can erase also. That doesn't, writing doesn't only mean just writing. Editing, deleting is also part of that. Very rarely you'll just log in. Okay, you're getting bored, so you log into your Amazon account and you'll start seeing what all things you purchased in last 6 months, 1 year, 3 years, right? You can do that. Okay, sometimes we do because we want to see something, but not often you will do that. Mostly it is insert, update, delete. That is OLTP applications, which are live, and analytical processing where we are more interested in. Okay, where we get more interested in is OLAP. Okay, analytical processing. So here it is more of understanding what has happened. So if I want to know, let's say I work on Amazon, I want to know, how each of the products behaved. Okay, so what I'll do, and if my range is like last month, so I'll download all the data for last month, okay, for the products I'm interested in, correct? And then I will start working on it. Now, second type, if you see here, you'll be doing reading only. Okay, you won't be going and editing or deleting something because you don't want to change the original data, right? So the most of the focus is on reading. So again, we'll talk about, okay, maybe before SQL, we'll talk about OLTP versus OLAP. Okay, so OLAP is more of a reading kind of thing. Okay, and this is more of editing or writing or editing. Okay, so even though we talk about database, okay, by default, when you say database, right, we focus more on OLTP. Okay, this is by default. But when you come to our kind of work, analytics kind of work, okay, it is OLAP. Okay, and this is where we have data warehousing also as part of this to talk about what happens in data warehousing. We'll also talk about index or not index, performance tuning. Of course, bulk of the work we'll be doing here is on the index front. Okay, so the way design, the database needs to be designed is different for OLTP and OLAP application. Okay, now let's look at this. Okay, OLTP, okay, is like writing in a notebook, right? In a notebook, you don't have index, right? In the textbook, you have index. Why don't you have index in notebook? One, you don't know what is coming, correct? Because index can be created only after you have the content ready. And second thing is you can move things around, right? Let's say you are starting on page 1 and you go to page 10. Then you realize, oh no, I have to add something on page 1. Again, you come back and you do on page 1, right? So you are moving back and forth in notebook. So, notebook is like your OLTP application. You move back and forth, you are busy writing, you're erasing, you're expanding, things like that. OLAP is like a book. You're reading a book. It has index, okay? And based on index, you can, if you're interested in specific topic, you go read and you come back, right? So there is not hardly any writing application, but here the structure is important, isn't it? The way you will write the book is important. You have to have predefined structure before you start writing a book. But in notebook, you don't think anything, right? You just start and you move around. So that's what we'll talk about. We'll talk about different normal forms, okay, where it is important for OLTP but not so important in OLAP. Okay, in reading, okay, it's okay to repeat some information. Okay, if you have to repeat information twice, it's fine in reading because it is only going to take space, nothing more. But in OLTP, okay, it is crime to repeat an information. Why? Because tomorrow if you have to change it, you don't know how many places you have written that information. So you might have repeated it twice or thrice, but you make changes at one place. So what happens? You made change at one place, fine, that has latest information, but other places it is still pointing to the old information. So it can again mess with your analysis. So those things we'll discuss later when we go there. Okay. So yeah.
So small doubt.
Yes.
If we do changes in 3 places, what happens? I mean, like if
No,
we
so how
if we do
I'll give
editing
you
in
I'll
all
give
the
you
3
the I'll give
places.
you an example here. Okay. Let's say
Yeah, okay.
you have one important document, okay, and you don't want to lose that document. Let's say just an example, okay,
Okay.
you invested in somewhere, like you have taken the insurance paper. So what you have done, you have taken a Xerox, it's important for you, so you take a photocopy Xerox and you put it in, you have 3 rooms, so you put 1 copy in each room. Okay.
Okay.
So this is good when you don't have to make any changes, because whichever room you are in and you want to look at it, you can go and look at it. This is like OLAP. Okay. But let's say if you are talking about your monthly accounts, okay, you're maintaining a monthly account or daily expenses sheet. Now for daily expenses sheet, if you take 3 copies and put in 3 different rooms, what will happen? So today it's fine. The moment you take photocopy, it is fine. You have 3 copies of the information. But then you're in one room today, you update it. Next time we're in different room, you're updating it. That data is old data. You do not have the latest information, right? So it is it becomes problem in that case. Okay. So that's why, it is not suggested to have, because see, one, you have to update at 3 different sheets. You have to make one entry, you have to run around 3 different rooms to get the paper, make one entry. It is cumbersome, time consuming. Okay. And if you forget, okay, gone. Right? The information is not updated. Next time you go and update in different sheet, so the 2 sheets will be different and you're confused what happened, why these entries are different. So, just a bad example, but just to tell you, how and why it is not good practice to have multiple copies in OLTP. Okay. Time consuming, space consuming at the end, you get messed up with how many copies you have, where are these, you forget. But when you read copy, when you don't have to make any changes, more copies you make, better it is. You can put it in, everywhere, in every file you can put it, and it is easily accessible. Okay. Doesn't mean that you will take 10 copies, but at least you'll take 2 copies and put it, right, to different places. So, just in case one gets spoiled or, lost or torn, you have one copy.
Don't create any mess.
Right. Bad example, but, just to tell you, how these two differ.
Yeah, I got it. I understood.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, and Swapnil,
Yes.
in the course content, like, do you cover this? I've seen a lot in this roles and responsibilities like SSIS, SSRS, Teradata. So what is that? Will you be covering, or is it required, or it's unnecessary?
See, okay, just to answer, it is unnecessary. Okay. And second thing is, Teradata is not included. Okay. But when we talk about, let's say I have not included SQL Server, a database, but, we can talk about a little bit of SSI, how to do the integration services. But as a structure, we don't have Teradata included. Okay. And the reason is that, we have to have a boundary somewhere, right? So the core activities which you would be doing, we have included. Okay. But of course, you are free to explore more than that. And if you have any doubt, you can come up in the class and we can talk about it. Or maybe if you want to discuss, we can dedicate a few minutes on those topics.
So you mean to say Teradata and the boundary you're talking, like it's too much to handle, you mean to say this kind of-
Exactly. Okay.
Okay.
And
what is SSIS, SSRS? Yeah, please throw light on that. Yeah. Please
okay.
continue.
Yeah. So, so the one way, okay, the best way is and this is I tell, okay, mostly when you talk about business analysis course, and for that matter, any course, is when you like say today, okay, you go out and when I say go out, go to these job sites, okay, Indeed and other job sites, look at the roles and responsibilities which you're interested in, okay, and look at maybe 5 or 10 or 20 such job requirements, and look at the content or look at the description. Okay, look at the expectation, things that they are expecting. Okay, and you make a note of it. Okay, and this is good when you're doing in first week. And towards the end, when we say the course is done, you go back and see if you're able to answer each of those points or not. Okay, so generally it happens that when you go now and you do it, probably you'll be able to answer 20-30% of the stuff. But after the course, you should be able to answer 80% of the stuff. Okay, that's a that shows that you have learned, and this course has made has contributed to your growth, correct? And then you look at what is not covered, maybe the 20%, 10% or 5%, whatever, right? You bring it to me saying that, Swapnil, I went through this, these are the things and we have covered this, I'm confident about this, but this 20 things, I'm not so confident. Okay. And we'll take it up at the end. Okay. So we'll tell that, okay, this is related to this. This is same as that. Okay. So we have already covered the same as that. Fine. Or this is new. This is what it means. And we'll cover. Okay. So in a way, the best place to see how prepared you are is to look at the jobs that you are interested in and look at the requirement that job has for those things. Okay. And this is the same thing which I tell to my students also about when they prepare their resume. They ask me, what should I put in the resume? Simple. You don't have to think about it. You just go, and if the job says one should be good at SQL, you say I'm good at SQL. Right? Of course, you have to be good at SQL. Right? Not that you don't know at all and you put I'm good at SQL, but I'm talking about creating the resume. Okay, what should I write? What language should I use? Language should be borrowed from your job description, and you should have different resume for different jobs. Use that language, okay, for two reasons. One, it makes your life easy. You don't have to think about the words to put in. Second, these days, okay, not these days, I think it used to happen before also, but these days we are using more of algorithms, right? They'll try to do the keyword match and it's a perfect match here, right? So your chances of getting shortlisted for the job increases. Okay, so that's one trick. Now talking about SSIS, right? It's called server integration services. Okay, server integration services, SIS, and first S is for SQL Server. Okay, it is a SQL Server thing. It's a service using which you can do data warehouse kind of work. Okay, you can manage your ETL, extraction, transform, and load kind of operation in SQL Server. That's what SSIS stands for. Okay, did I answer you?
Yes, yeah, data warehousing mostly you say.
Yeah.
SSRS as well, yeah.
R is for reporting. Okay, same thing. R stands for
Okay.
reporting. So integration reporting is like how to connect variety of sources to SQL Server, how to perform reporting out of SQL Server. Those are the package, and these two things are very specific to SQL Server. Okay, so yeah, we can do that.
So another thing, like data analyst and Power BI job responsibilities differ a lot, isn't it? Just Power BI is just DAX queries, M queries, dashboards, and that's it, right? Isn't it? And data analyst is like too much to do.
Okay, so see, I have listed all these things, right? But let's say when you join a job, right, you won't be doing all these from day one itself, right? They'll probably hire you for just one activity or just one activity or one activity, right? So you won't be doing everything on day one, right? In the interview, they might ask you all of these, but when they put you in the job, you'll have a dedicated job. Maybe you're a data engineer job where you're just pulling in data, formatting and putting it in a formatted data in different formats. Somebody else will take it and perform those things. So yes, okay, each of these things, right? For example, Power BI or Tableau, this is, this is strong enough to give you a role. This again is independent enough. If you're a SQL expert, you're enough, it's enough to get a role. Python expert itself is enough to get a role, right? So each of these tools have different role to play in the entire data analytics life cycle. Okay, but all of these are enough to get you a job. If that was your question.
Okay, yeah.
Right? Yeah. Okay, so what
And
else?
80
Yeah.
hours, 80 hours, you say, like how long will the course last? How many months?
Okay, so see, it may not be 80 hours, it could be around 70 hours. Yes, okay. Why it is 80 hours is we will be doing projects for each of these. Okay, for each of this topic, we'll be doing a project. Okay, the expectation is that when I'm doing it, okay, you watch my screen. As I said, you don't have to do it parallelly because your intention has to be to focus on what I'm doing. Just learn. Okay, sometimes, if you're doing parallelly, your focus will be more on getting output on your screen than to understand what I'm saying. Okay, so I don't want you to practice along with me. I want you to watch my screen. Everything is hands-on. I will not come up with PPTs and things like that. I'm going to show you, and you'll be given PDF. I have PDF, okay, which will be given to you. So you don't even have to make notes, okay. And then you have to go and practice those things and use projects. So that's how it becomes 80 hours. Second thing is the duration, right? So see, it depends, right? How many hours, because the team will connect with you and talk about the timing and things like that. And I think next week again there's daylight saving, and so there will be some changes. Generally, mentally be prepared for 3 months. Okay, mentally be prepared to spend. Definitely it's going to be more than 2 months. So 2 to 3 months. Just be prepared and keep up your enthusiasm for 3 months. Okay, don't let it die down after a week or so. Okay, just be there. If you feel that your enthusiasm going down, just come to the course, come online, and to build that momentum, it is my responsibility. So did I answer you?
Yes. These projects are real time, wherein you have millions of tables, like you see, not just those 100
Okay.
tables, wherein
Okay.
it's easy to do it. Yeah, because I've seen such boot camps on YouTube where then they take that Excel and it's just 100 rows, 100 to 4-5 columns, and they do it within half an hour. Yeah, so
Right.
that's really not interesting. I mean, we really don't learn anything from that. They finish it off in 1 hour.
Right. So
Yeah.
see, I have got few data set, okay, which is bigger size. Okay, to learn, this is the smaller data set is good. Okay, why? Because when you are doing for the first time, you want to see the output. You want to see if all your steps are working fine or not, right? So to learn, small data set is good, but to practice, you need bigger data set, right? So because now that you know what is 2 plus 3 is 5, now you want to try it on 3-digit and 4-digit, right? So we can't do it on 3 or 4 digit on day one itself. So to understand the concept of addition, we need smaller single digit values. But once you are comfortable, the projects has to be on the larger data set, right? So we do have mix of both. Correct?
Yeah, okay, yeah. And Swapnil, does this data analyst position, does it demand too much patience while doing the job?
The answer is yes. Okay. Why? I'll tell you. Okay. And this you'll get with time. Okay. I'm not saying that you will be doing on day one itself. Now, getting data itself, let's take step by step. Getting data. Can you think of how many sources are there for data set? I'm not talking about the technical sources. Okay. I'm just talking about the types of data itself. Data
Yes,
can be
one of my friend is data analyst. He said it took him only 2 months to get data.
correct, right? And data could, and not only getting it, okay, once you have it, you can't use it because data is in PDF format. Data is in some SQL Server database. It's an Oracle database. Half of them is in CSV. Okay, half of them is on website, right? So once to know what is the right kind of data. Okay. Second, when you know this is the right data, but how do I take it in format which my tool can use? Okay, so the pre-processing part is about collecting all this data and putting in a structured format. Okay, that's what I said, getting data and cleaning. So once you clean the data, now you have it in a format which is your tools can take it, Python or Power BI or SQL can take it. Okay, so so sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's difficult. So as you get more experience, you'll find it easier and easier. So initial few times, yes, you need to be patient. You need to have patience.
Yeah, okay, yes.
Okay. So yeah. So any other question before we end? Okay, I'm just thinking if I missed anything. I don't think so, right? Okay, I was
Swapnil,
talking.
one question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. And as you mentioned that we need to learn Power BI and Tableau and Excel for this. Both should be in the advanced like that. We need to have all the three we need to learn.
No. So the thing is, okay, again, when you look, as I said, right, even if you look at the job description, right, they will not, they don't expect you to be master in all of these. Okay, they expect you to have, master in at least one of these and know about all those. So as you practice, you will be probably, inclined towards one of these. So my suggestion is, whichever you are inclined towards, which you like, you find it easy. Okay. Now, what you might find easy may not be easy for somebody else. Okay. Somebody else might find something else easy. So my suggestion is, one thing you try to do more practice and try to master that particular thing, and everything else, yes, don't make it zero. Okay. Jack of all trade, master of one.
At least we have the knowledge of all the three.
Yes.
But should be mastered.
Of one.
And
okay, that's my suggestion.
yeah. And where we'll use this Python to get the data, or
Python is used for everything. Okay. Python is used to get data from website. Python is used to read data from your database as well. Python is used to plot graph. Okay. So Python can do the job of every other thing. Okay. It can do job of Power BI. It can do job of SQL. Of course, when I say SQL, you use SQL in Python query. Okay. Power BI Tableau also uses Python inbuilt. Okay, sometimes some data set, okay, it might be difficult to do the manual processing, and you can use a 1 line or 2 line of Python code inside Power BI, and you can process data faster. So Python can do the plotting just like Power BI does. Power BI uses Python, and you can use it for data analysis. Mostly, okay, in our case, it is mostly to read data from various sources and present it in a tabular format. Okay, this is where Python will be used mostly. But as I said, you can do almost everything using Python. So
compared to SQL, Python is doing more, you're saying, right?
Yes, SQL is only to connect to the database. Okay, SQL has a limited scope. It only connects to the data. It's a language to get the information out from database. Okay,
That means you are saying like in Python only we'll write like queries like in SQL.
correct. Not like SQL. SQL query only we can write in
I
Python.
mean, that means like I was saying like
Yeah.
Python itself will be
Yes.
writing some queries and all.
Yes.
That under the database will fetch the data and all like that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
In
See-
Python, are we going to write the SQL queries? You're saying?
Yes.
Yes, you can write it. In Java we'll write like some JDBC connections. So
Correct.
that same kind of Python we need to.
Correct.
So do you help us in preparing the resume? Like, do you go through it? Do you review it?
Yes.
right.
Okay. But I think I think there are better people than me. Okay, who's good at it. But yes, if you want me to review, we can do that. But we have expert also, so don't worry about it.
Yes, Swapnil, this is the question is like away from the content. Like, after getting a job, do you provide job support? Like you particular? Or
I
somebody
don't.
else?
Okay, but somebody else might be. So so I think the team would be the right people to talk about these things. Okay, so yeah.
So all the placement and job support thing, we are
That-
going to take care of that. So you can
Yeah.
reach out to us for that. All those details we can share.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Anything else, guys? Let me stop recording.